After that, we open the floor up to questions. So if you have any questions, please write them down or just remember them. Don't be shy, bring them up. Don't hesitate to speak on them because you may not be the only one that has those questions. I do want to ask the person calling from the number 614 area code 733-1009. Please state your name and location.
Yes, my name is Fatima Greer, Columbus, Ohio.
All right, Islam sister, thanks for calling in.
Islam.
All right, so yeah, we go over the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and then we open the floor up to questions. All right, so before we speak on chapter 33, I just want to mention a few things. First, I want to bring up a couple things from Moorish literature. So I want to go over demanding ours. That's on page 49. If you don't have it, you could just look at the screen. And I'll just read it out loud, so don't worry if you can't see the screen. Okay, demanding ours. The idea hang on a second.
Inculcated.
Yeah. Hang on. All right, bear with me 1 second for us. Okay, yeah, I had to pull up a definition for that. I never heard of that word before, but yeah, inculcated says instill an idea, attitude, or habit by persistent instruction. Or another version, another description is teach an attitude, idea, or habit by persistent instruction. Okay, so the idea inculcated in the purposes of the Moorish Science Temple of America is to have everything that belongs to us as a nation that has become part of another nation, just the same as all other European groups are doing. We must have the history of our forefathers taught to our children. We have ceased to calculate our history from the landing of the first 20 or the close of the Civil War. While all records of the tombs in the old world are proclaiming our glory to the nations, we have come now demanding that we be given credit for the great work done in the past by our ancestors. You see this though, right? We have ceased to calculate our history from the landing, like speaking of the slave trade or the end of the Civil War, right? That's where our history gets started at. We know the tombs of the old world are proclaiming our glory, and we have come now demanding that we be given credit for the work done in the past by our ancestors. So we're not asking, right? We are not asking others to give these records to the world for us, but we demand that such records be broadcasted to the four winds by us and for us. So we're not asking, we don't need anyone's permission. Why? Because we know as Moors, this ties us back in to our true and divine records, which have been hidden, to the creators of civilization. We don't need to ask for permission. We can teach this to ourselves and eventually to the world. We don't need to ask anybody, but you have to know who you are. All right, by knowing who you are, you predate all of that. A pride that goes with the knowledge of great deeds will serve to cause our posterity to take heart and look into the vast future with a hope eternal. Such can never be done except they be taught who they are and where they are from. Yes, we are demanding that these things be done, and we know that it will require some time before we have created that consciousness in others of our group to assert themselves likewise. But that day is coming when such will be the case. And so we also know that more goes into it than just knowing who you are. That's one thing that's great, but also we have to create that consciousness, right, in ourselves and in others. And so we're going to speak on that. This is what the prophet is doing with these divine instructions. We have to create the consciousness as well. You can't just, oh, I know we was kings. We was kings, right? That's not good enough, right? If we're acting like savages, it doesn't even fit. We won't be able to make anything happen. Okay. Also want to read from Savior of Humanity. And once again, if you have the Moorish literature book, that should be on page 22, Savior of Humanity. Not going to read the whole thing, but I'm just going to read a portion of it. But doing this for a reason, so bear with me. Let's listen up. Okay, so I'm not going to read the entire portion of Savior of Humanity, but I advise people to go and read this on your own. I just really want to read something in particular from this. Okay. All right. Okay, so all right, going down to the second paragraph. Okay, it's speaking about the prophet, Noble Drew Ali, coming as he does with a message for the nations in somewhat the same manner as did Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and other prophets of their day. Only the things of this prophet's day differ from the ills of the days of the past, right? We have new challenges, things that are specific just to us. So there's some things that are different, but he's coming in the same manner as prophets before. And yet the remedy for the ills of today is about the same, not the completely the same, but about the same as the remedies for the days past, all turning about the pivot, love for humanity. Going down to the next paragraph, it says, humanity must be lifted from the unwholesome depths of poverty, misery, and suffering, and placed on the solid rock of salvation. Okay, humanity must be lifted from the unwholesome depths of poverty, misery, and suffering, and placed on the solid rock of salvation. Okay, and for those of you that have seen the front of the questionnaire, the 101 Quran questions, you see the prophet, he's lifting humanity out of the cares of the world onto the solid rock of salvation. Okay, so the solid rock of salvation, of course, not speaking about land or rock, right? We're speaking about something, I guess, metaphysical, something that's not physical. We're speaking about thoughts, our own thought pattern, our own mind, how we approach the world. Where am I getting that from? Let's turn to our Quran. Okay. Let's turn in the Quran, circle 7 Quran. Now, of course, we're on chapter 33, but I would like if everybody would turn to chapter 36, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, Know Thyself. Okay, 36. Now, this is why I'm saying that the solid rock of salvation, this is our own mind state, how we see the world, how we approach the world. This is a part of knowing thyself. It's not just knowing that our ancestors created the pyramids and all that. That's just a part of it. The real part, the real thing that empowers you is changing your mind state, how you think, how you, your thoughts, deeds, and actions. That's why this is in Holy Instructions from the Prophet, Know Thyself. So very first sentence, very first verse. Weak and ignorant as thou art, O man. Humble as thou oughtest to be, O child of the dust. Wouldst thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? Raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom. That's how you get on the solid rock of salvation. Wouldst thou see omnipotence displayed before thee? Contemplate thine frame, right? So in here, excuse me, we're given instructions on to know thyself. Raise our thoughts to infinite wisdom. Then you will see the omnipotence displayed before thee, right? The creator is within you. But in order to meet the creator, we have to raise our thoughts. We have to raise our thoughts to our higher self. Raise our thoughts, our own thoughts to infinite wisdom. And that's why this measure is so important on gratitude, right? The prophet is giving us the keys. The keys to what? The keys to the kingdom. How to control our reality, right? If we go to chapter 44, holy instructions from the prophet, misery. What does the prophet have to say about misery? Now remember, this is a part of knowing thyself. It's not good enough just to say, oh, we were great. That's only a portion of it. We want to do this for real. He's teaching us how to unfold Allah within us. And he has to teach it because nobody else taught it. Nobody else cared, especially for us, right? Everyone looked over us. So holy instructions from the prophet, misery. Let's go down to verse 20. Verse 20, chapter 44, holy instructions from the prophet, misery. Man foreseeth the evil that is to come. He remembereth it when it is past. He considereth not that the thought of affliction woundeth deeper than the affliction itself. Think not of thy pain, but when it is upon thee, and thou shalt avoid what most hurt thee. Okay, so the prophet is letting us know something there, right? The thought of the affliction wounded deeper than the actual affliction itself, right? Think not of thy pain, it said when it's on you, and then you can avoid what can most hurt you. So the thought is the cause of it all, right? You're remembering something from the past, some affliction, and it gets you stuck in the past, in that pain, in that moment. And this is in the chapter on misery, holy instructions from the prophet on misery, right? So once again, the prophet is letting us know it's all a state of mind. And then if we go to chapter 12, right? And this is key in chapter 12. Jesus teaches the common people at the spring, tells them how to obtain what? How to obtain eternal happiness. Okay, and then if we know the symbolism of the number 12, right? We know that we're about to get some keys in this chapter. Okay, so if we go to verse 7, it says, the man replied, "O heaven of heaven, we have heard, but then it is so far away, and we must live so many lives before we can reach that place." And just to give a little context, Jesus is speaking to the people, and they're complaining about the work that they have to do. Their lives aren't, joyful, right? And so the man said in verse 7, "Of heaven we have heard, but then it is so far away, and we must live so many lives before we can reach that place." And Jesus said, "My brother, man, your thoughts are wrong. Your heaven is not far away, and it is not a place of metes and bounds. It is not a country to be reached. It is a state of mind," right? Giving the keys. It's not some place over there. It's not somewhere you go to when you die. It's a state of mind. And then verse 9, Allah never made a heaven for man. He never made a hell. We are creators and we make our own. We make our own. It's a state of mind, okay? Just like in the measure we read before in the chapter on misery. We create it for ourselves. Now cease to seek for heaven in the sky. Just open up the windows of the hearts and like a flood of light of heaven will come and bring a boundless joy. Then toil will be no cruel task. Okay, and allegedly the prophet said, if I can get you to thinking, you will save yourselves. Okay, so we're given these keys and they're all pointing towards our own state of mind, right? Our mind controls our reality. And remember, first I read from verse 1 in chapter 36, holy instructions from the prophet, know thyself. And the prophet told us, right? Raise our thoughts, raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom. All right. This is a part of knowing yourself. So this is why, you know, it's important for us to study and to do this and to actually put some time aside every holy day to contemplate and to put in work on actually improving our thoughts, how we conduct ourselves on an everyday basis. What did Jesus say? Heaven and hell are states of mind. These are things that we create for ourselves. So as we go into chapter 33 on gratitude, right, keep that in mind, that the prophet is giving us the keys on how to control our reality. And it's something that we all must know. These chapters that we've been going over, chapters 30 through 35, these are social duties, right? These are duties that not only do we do on an individual basis, but things that we need to do as a collective, right? How we conduct ourselves in our communities, like rules and, you know, principles, how we conduct ourselves on a regular basis, right? And speaking on chapters 31 through 35, each chapter has a code of conduct: justice, charity, gratitude, sincerity, and religion, right? These things aren't being taught in the mainstream society. This is important for us, all right? So that we can be successful regardless of what everyone else is doing, okay? But then also on an individual level, this is important. So let's go ahead and go into chapter 33, verse 1. As the branches of a tree return the sap to their root, from whence it arose, as a river poureth its streams to the sea, whence the spring was supplied. So the heart of a grateful man delighteth in returning a benefit received. All right. So these things are aspects of nature, you know, that the branches of the tree return the sap to the root, right? The sap is like the blood of the tree, right? The river pours its stream to the sea, whence the spring was supplied. So you're doing these things without even worrying about receiving the benefit for what you do, right? You have an attitude of gratitude, okay? The heart of a grateful man delighteth in returning a benefit received. He acknowledgeth his obligation with cheerfulness. He looketh on his benefactor with love and esteem, right? So just changing our whole outlook on life, how we approach life, how we approach the work, the things that we have to do for each other, for our family, in our community. And if to return it be not in his power, he nourisheth the memory of it in his breast with kindness. He forgetteth it not all the days of his life. Right? So we're not trying to get over, trying to get something for nothing from each other. Just so many people trying to get over, and it's just like an ornery, foul, nasty attitude. And it's a lot of people have this type of attitude in our community, even with each other. And it's unsustainable. And people can't conduct themselves like that and think like that and really think you're going to be successful. There is no we, there is no us, if that's how we conduct ourselves, right? Because people like that are like a cancer. Okay, so this is changing our outlook, because if we're doing this individually, we're putting this into practice. If you're a true Muslim, this is how we're to conduct ourselves. So as a collective, there's nothing that can stop us. Our success is guaranteed. So this is what the prophet is creating, right? This is what he's putting out there for us speaking this into the ethers, teaching us to do, right? This is why we are to take these lessons to heart. Verse 4, the heart of the grateful man is like the clouds of heaven, which drops upon the earth, fruits, herbage, and flowers. But the heart of the ungrateful is like a desert of sand, which swalloweth with greediness the showers that fall, and burieth them in its bosom, and produceth nothing. Right? So, with this attitude of gratitude and just, conducting ourselves like this on a regular basis, we make everything prosper everywhere we go. Everywhere we go is prospering, growing, and that's the way that it's supposed to be ideally. But the heart of the ungrateful is like a desert of sand, which swalloweth with greediness the showers that fall. Like soon as in the desert, like Death Valley, if it even rains, even just like a couple inches for the whole year, that rain is gone quick, right? It just gets soaked up and disappears, right? And unless it's raining for days, right? If it just rains like it rains everywhere else, that rain is gone quick and it produceth nothing, right? So that's not how we want to be. That's not how we want our communities to be. That's why we can't take like this Negro mentality into something greater, right? Because it's not just knowing who you are that saves you. It's actually in being the creators of civilization, actually coming in and returning to that mindset and actually doing that. Then everything that we do prospers. No one can stop us, right? Envy not thy benefactor, neither strive to conceal the benefit he hath conferred. For though to oblige is better than to be obliged, though the act of generosity commandeth admiration, yet the humility toucheth the heart and is amiable on the sight of both Allah and man. But receiveth not a favor from the hand of the proud. To the selfish and avaricious have no obligation. The vanity of pride shall expose thee to shame. The greediness of avarice shall never be satisfied. Islam. So the prophet is changing our whole mentality, right? How we conduct ourselves individually and as a collective, so that we can truly be successful. And we have the precedent that is set throughout the Quran and the literature that the prophet put out that is about changing our mind state, right? That's how we are placed on the solid rock of salvation, by uplifting our mind state, okay? And uplifting our mind state to a higher level. That's why we have the measure where when we have the holy instructions from the prophet, know thyself, he's saying to raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom, right? And this is something that our everyday thoughts, so our daily thoughts and actions and deeds, how we conduct ourselves on a regular basis. That is where our salvation is, okay? And to actually be who you say you are, instead of trying to resemble it. We're not trying to play dress up. We're not trying to look the part. We actually really want to be this and to be something greater. And so it's a challenge, and it's something that we all have to be up to the task of and doing the work on ourselves. But it's another measure that we can't overlook, right? And then just going back to this with these instructions, these are our social duties, right? So this is something that we do as a collective within our communities. This is how a true Muslim is supposed to conduct themselves. We're supposed to work to be benevolent in how we treat each other and to be trustworthy, right? And then it's shown to us in this chapter that it's to be ungrateful is despicable. Like, it's something that none of us should want to be, right? We're warned, we're showed how, the heart of the ungrateful is like the desert. It produces nothing, right? So we're not to conduct ourselves like this and to hold ourselves to a higher standard, right? So just wanted to share that. Does anyone else have anything they would like to add for this chapter or any questions? So one measure though, just from that, just what are the acts of gratitude? That's when you're returning the benefits that you receive. And then if you're not able to return it, you know, the memory of the aid, you know, like if you're not able to return it right there, you're nourishing that memory with kindness, right? And we're not trying to get over, trying to get something for nothing. All right, Islam. Yeah, so does anyone have any questions about chapter 33 or any insight, anything you'd like to share? All right. If not, that's fine. Let's go ahead and move on. Does anyone have any questions in general? All right, Islam, I yield the floor.
Peace. I just wanted to say happy holy day. Honestly, excuse me, I'm driving right now. High praises to Allah, honestly, prophet. What I've got from this measure was that self-preservation is important alongside of self-respect. By self-respect, respecting everybody else that's around you, those that came before you, foremothers and forefathers, et cetera, et cetera. Islam.
All right, Islam. And like with that, like this is showing us that we to have an understanding, you know, that it's unsustainable to just be out, just always just looking for self, you know, like we know our place in this, and then we're to assist others as well, right? And to do it with the, you know, with cheerfulness, being happy, and to play your part in helping others, helping the community. Islam. All right. Okay, does anyone have any questions in general? I mean, even any questions, we'll go ahead and open the floor.
Islam. So, I to be an Israelite, and I understand that they say the Sabbath day is Saturday. That's now I'm hearing that it's Friday.
All right, yeah, yeah. So there was I had something up on the screen just showing how, for the most part, right? And I'm not knocking what anyone else is doing, but for the most part, right, there's a whole, I guess you could say, like, astrological reason why different religions or different, you know, different groups would say that a certain day is the day that they would set aside, you know, for worship. Like, here we go. Right, for the most part, it's tied to the ruling planet that's over that day. It's not whatever people are saying it is in the Bible or in the Koran or anything like that. Like for us, Friday is connected to Venus. Saturday is connected to Saturn. Sunday is connected to the sun, Domingo. All right, forgive.
Okay.
All right, and so for the most part, there are totally different reasons that are connected to. There's astrological meaning behind it. For us, we know that on the sixth day, it's supposed to be the sixth day. Is the day that man was formed in the flesh and man departed out of the flesh. We also know that symbolically that could be tied into the Kabbalah tree of life, because on the sixth spear on this chart, that's where man is. And the Kabbalah tree of life shows the different hierarchies, like the spiritual hierarchies. And then you get to where man is and where earth is. And man just happens to be in that sixth sphere, right? So there's different reasons for why people hold to their different days. I'm not saying any are good or bad, but what we do is we meet on a Friday. That's a holy day for us. Like at the same time, no, I'm not knocking what anyone else is doing.
I mean, it seems like it's matching up a little, a little bit. For the feast days, is that the same?
Some of it comes from older cultures too, as well, like older practices that different tribes and different people were doing. And when this religion came into that area, they wanted the people to take that religion on, so they would adopt whatever their holy day was. So like you have several different reasons why people have different holy days across the world. Now, as far as Islam is concerned, with us, I mean, all Muslims all over the world hold to Friday as the holy day, as well as us, with the Prophet bringing Islam back to us. So we hold to that. And then there's power also in doing things in conjunction with 1 billion people across the planet, with everyone saying this day, we're going to set aside to make sure that we put it, make it important to make sure that we are considering the Creator, doing our best to, to pray and meditate. And if you have everybody across the world doing this, that's powerful. And that's the simplest way actually to explain it. That's powerful to do that in conjunction with your, spiritually with your brothers and sisters across the planet.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Do you have any other questions?
I have a lot of questions. I just want to make sure that whatever I do is good. I want to make sure that when I pray and things like that I'm doing it the right way. And understanding who I, that's, it's hard to explain, but.
No, it makes sense.
I really feel. I mean, somebody bring it. It's a lot of things that it brings stuff. It came from this guy that was saying like we're spiritual beings, and then it went to me looking at Israelites. Okay, so therefore, it's a lot of stuff with that. And then I look at other things on the internet. I'm like, well, now people are saying Jacob is Yaakov, and it is a lot. So therefore, and then I look up Abraham Lincoln, and the same people that in the Bible is Abraham Lincoln's, like Enoch and things like that. So, and then I'm not really communication with that. So therefore, I just really need to be on the right page and be focused and understand things.
All right, Islam, I hear where you're coming from. So, I mean, I would say definitely, study with us and just ask any questions that you have. I would say, like, I think you said that you had gotten a Koran or that you were getting one. I would look through it.
Well, I ordered the one that y'all have. The one that I have is the regular, the Holy Koran with a Q. That's because I was watching Farrakhan and he was saying that is a good book. I was trying to find myself basically, and I had a spiritual awakening. So therefore, I've been seeing different things and reading different things and stuff. So, but I have just ordered off of Amazon the same book you have.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, the Holy Quran is revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, of course, is great to have that and to actually read it, you know, to look over it for guidance. All holy books have truth in them. I mean, the Bible, even though there's books that's been left out of it and it's been distorted, it still has the word of God in there, still has truth and enlightenment in there. So definitely, I was speaking specifically about the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. It's basically a booklet, and it's a short read, you know, probably no more than 60 something pages. I mean, depending on, I guess, where it's been printed, but it's there's not a lot of pages. It was brought specifically to us. This quote from the King James Bible that's up on the screen. You guys always hear me quoting from the Quran, but this is in the Bible too, where it says, I will raise them up a prophet from amongst their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. It's up here because it's saying that I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, right? And then that's in the Quran, is revealed to the Prophet Muhammad like 8 times, at least 8 times. It's probably in there more than 8 times, but we know it's in there at least 8 times, where Allah is letting the people know that he sends a prophet to every nation from amongst the people and speaking their language, right? And the reason I'm sharing this is because that's the precedent that's set by the Creator, that he sends to every people a prophet from amongst them and speaking their language so that he can make things clear to them, so he can help them get back on the path, right? This is how great and wonderful our Creator is, right? He makes sure that one of us from amongst us that knows what we're going through, that speaks our language, comes to us and makes it plain and easy for us, right? And that's why the Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America it's a short read. He specifically came to us, right, speaking our language, and made it plain and clear for us, and where it's not super difficult, not like you have to jump through all these hoops to get in alignment with the law. It's like, no, these things that we have to do, for the most part, they're in alignment with what you really want to do anyway. Like, you really want to be a decent person and to do the right thing. And so it's like that. It's made plain and clear for us, right? And that's why I was saying, if you get the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, I mean, you could just look through it in one night and see if anything in there jumps out to you and looks like, oh, no, I can't mess with this. It's not going to be like that. You're going to look through it and you're going to see, like, it speaks to you. It's like, this is good. And then, you know, that's why I would advise doing. And then, you know, if it vibes with you, then study with us and learn. And,
Okay.
you know, like, there's not going to be anything in there that's going to like, oh, no, that I can't get with that. No, it's going to speak to you. And so I would advise looking over it. And, you know, you'll see the truth in it yourself. And it was specifically made for us. Right. And that's why, as the sister said in the chat, that's why we meet every week. We do this every Friday and Sunday. Right. Because at some point before we were born, our people went astray. And now it's time for us to get back right. We're in a new age now. We're in the age of Aquarius. A prophet comes along at the beginning of a new age to prepare the people for that age. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali came to us right at around the end of the age of Pisces, which is what Jesus came at Pisces. So the prophet came right around the end of that age to prepare us for what we're coming into now. Right. And you know, he was right on time. And that's how come, even, you know, though he came in the 20s and they didn't teach us this, and they're not going to teach us this, they want to act like Moors don't even exist. Somehow it's people are just waking up every day. Somebody else is realizing there are more, because it's the truth, and there's destined to happen, and nothing could stop it. So it doesn't even matter that people trying to hide this and cover this up. They can't stop it, because they're not more powerful than the Creator of the universe. and it's destined to happen. You know, so even just the fact that you're here means something's inside of you, is waking up, is ready. And that's why I would say, yeah, look through the Quran, you know, and study with us.
Okay, so the Quran I have now that's good. That's a good book to read, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, because like we respect and honor all prophets. So any you know, Buddha, all of that. The Creator revealed the truth to them so that they can help their people. So yeah, that the book, the Quran, revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, it has truth in there. It has light in there. And definitely it's good to read and study.
Okay.
Right.
Well, thank you so much. I'm like really excited.
Great. That's
So,
great to hear. Yeah. So we do this every Friday and Sunday at 7 p.m. on Zoom.
thank you.
All right. Praise Allah.
And then I say Islam, right?
Yeah. Islam just means peace.
Okay. Islam.
Yeah. All right. Islam.
Thank you.
Oh, sure.
I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss this. I know you told me 7 o'clock, but I'm at work, so I'm just get back to work. But thank you.
All right. Yeah.
Islam.
Thanks. All right. Islam. Thanks for coming. All right.
Oh, and then also I was wondering, because I was hearing the people talk about the rules and things like that. Do you have like a list or a package or something for that?
Yeah. If you send your email, we'll send you the some of the things that we had in this call, like our divine constitution. So we have a constitution and bylaws. Our Quran also contains laws to us because the prophet, everything that he wrote down for us is law. All right. But we'll send that to you, and you can go over these things because like he didn't just establish like the religion for us. He actually set up a nation for us. Right. We have a theocratic government, meaning a government that's under God. We have to be able to rule ourselves and to be civilized just like everyone else. That's one thing that our people were missing when we started to go along with the ways of the Europeans. They created,
I noticed that.
Yeah, they created a category for us called Negro at the time that was defined as a savage. It was a savage from West Africa, you know, and West Africa is probably so big, you could probably fit the continental United States in there because it's several nations, it's huge. So we didn't really come from there. They just said, you know, this Negro is an enslaved African. That's it. So it's just a slave. It starts as slavery. It was a creation. And they said that it was savage, meaning it didn't have a religion. It didn't have a connection to God. They gave us one when they made us Christians, right? And that's how come they could do whatever they want to us. And the prophet reconnected us to something that predates that. And that's why we have law and order. We have our own religion. We don't have to go to anyone and ask them for permission. Is this okay if we do this? Are we really who we say we are? No, we don't have to do any of that. We're the authorities now because we know who we are. We're not downing anyone. We don't have to do that either. We're not trying to make other people feel bad, but we know who we are and we don't have to ask for anyone's permission.
Right.
All right. And yeah, that's important. You know, that's what everyone else has. Right. Like, you know, Nigerians, they don't have to ask anyone for permission to be for these people, to be this tribe. And they don't have to do that. So they can be Christians. But for us, is, you know, not knocking anyone that Christianity is working for you, fine. But for us, it's a little different because we got disconnected from humanity.
Right.
And it didn't happen overnight. So that's, that's why we have to do some work to get back into who we truly are. And that's why for us, it took divine intervention. There's nobody else was trying to do this. Nobody else was trying to do anything about it. And that's how come they still don't talk about the prophet or any of this. They're cool with just being given a new nickname every 30, 40 years.
Yeah, and I noticed that.
No reason on earth we should have been calling ourselves colored. It makes no sense. But we actually went by that. And now we're Black or African American. It's like we shouldn't go by anything anyone else created for us. I don't care if they get one of us to make it sound cool. We shouldn't be good. We shouldn't feel comfortable with any of that. We need to define who we are. All right. And pretty much you won't hear anybody else even touching on this except for the Moors. Everyone else acts like it doesn't matter.
It do matter. I believe it do. I feel like when they put the drugs in the Black communities, it really destroyed it.
Yeah, that was the final nail in the coffin. But that stuff wouldn't even have worked if we had our own divine principles and way that we conducted ourselves. It wouldn't even matter. They wouldn't have been able to do it. But as someone else's creation, like calling us Negroes, it wasn't just a nickname. We actually took on that mentality. Whatever they defined it as, we actually became that. We actually became savage, where even now, like, our people think it's cool to be savage. They're wearing clothes that say savage on it. They don't think nothing of it. So it's a whole mentality. It's real. It's a program. We have to come out of it. And no one else is going to do it except for us. It's not going to be taught in the schools until we have our own schools and we're teaching. And then everyone follows us. So now this stuff is spreading across the world, spreading to everybody. All right. So it's in our nature to teach the world. It's in our nature to create languages. It's in our nature to do this for the entire world, not just for ourselves. So nothing's going to change for the better until we right ourselves. And that's why you have Bloods and Crips in Japan and in South Africa, and they in different nations like in Ghana and Nigeria, they doing drill rap. It's like this is spreading across the world like a sickness, and nobody's going to change it until we do. So it's all on us because we really do descend from the creators of civilization. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. All right. And we've been here so long that all of this used to be Africa, even where we're at right now. That's how old we are. So we're just returning back to ourselves. And
Oh, wow.
No one else is going to right the ship except for us. All right. And that's why when you go through the Quran, you'll see a huge portion of it contains measures on how we correct ourselves, because at the end of the day, we can't skip over that. That's the biggest portion. Right. Okay, great. Does anyone else have any questions? Or if you have any other questions, feel free to ask. All right. Okay, so if nobody has any questions or anything they would like to say, I want to announce without further ado, we're going into the closing of the meeting. Okay, all meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I do want to say real quickly, though, before we close, make sure you send your email Make sure you send your email, and I'll send you some more information. And,
Okay, thank you.
right. Okay, yeah, so on that note, we're gonna go ahead and close out. We always rise facing the east. We're about to do our closing prayer. So we always stand facing the east, standing up straight with our heels together. And then we, facing the east, hold up 2 fingers on the right and 5 fingers on the left. And you do not need to repeat after me. Allah, bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers, divine creed and principles. We ask this in thy holy name and the 7 Elohim. Amen. Islamism, peace and love, Moors, and happy holy day. This meeting is now adjourned.
Islam.
Islam.
Peace, love, holiday.
Love, happy holiday.
Happy holy day.
Love, happy holy day.